I am so excited to have Tarek Othman on board today. Tarek is a guru when it comes to real estate finance. When it comes to finance in general, I'm stoked to have you here. You have a master's degree from the University of Georgetown?
Georgetown, yep. Represent.
In real estate finance. So as far as who he is and his qualifications, he is the most qualified in this business. So, Tarek, I'm excited to have you here, and I'm excited to announce that we're going to be doing this every single week. We're going to be able to give tips on finance and real estate, finance in general, and just stoked to have you here on board.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's, especially now with like the moving landscape, it's good to kind of just get a weekly snapshot, kind of understand, especially everything that's out there. It's kind of hard to digest. I'm really just here to try and simplify it, make it a little easier to understand. So that way when you're reading it, you're seeing it, you have tangible examples, something that you can actually like walk away with, not bore you. And honestly, I think everyone will just benefit from it. And at the same time, we get to do what we love. So I'm excited.
100%, 100%. So with that being said, let's dive into it. Let's make it quick so they can hear what they got to know and go on with their day. Talk to me about what's going on in the market right now. I know Fed's been raising interest rates. I know it's been kind of like, what the heck is going on? So can you break it down for me in layman's terms? What the heck is going on with the market?
Yeah, so, we're all accustomed to what the market's been doing recently, right? I mean, we've, obviously COVID, rates were at all-time lows. The 10-year Treasury bond yields were at all-time lows. Inflation was up, but we kind of, with everything going on, when you shut down the economy globally, things are going to happen, right? There's always going to be repercussion. Every decision has an inverse reaction, right? So we are kind of feeling what we went through now. So inflation is up. We're feeling it everywhere. We're feeling it on the gas station. We're feeling it in the stores. We're feeling it for anything we really buy or use right now. So essentially, prices are going up. The good old days of the 2.7% interest rates, the everyone and their mother can afford a home loan, those are a little bit behind us. Does that mean we can't still get people into homes? We still can't get mortgages? Absolutely not. We definitely can, and there's some pretty cool ways. And I have a new thing that just came out that I'm excited to kind of announce. But interest rates are going up. The Fed just recently on the 20th of September raised the rate by another 0.75 of a point, so 75 basis points. What does that mean? Everyone's always like, oh, the interest rates are going up. They just raised 75 basis points where all hell's breaking loose. Well, the Fed doesn't actually control mortgage rates, right? And I think that's the big spell that everyone kind of hangs their hat on. That the Fed controls the central bank rate, which is more or less for short-term financing, credit card debts, car loans, adjustable rate mortgages that move with the market. But the fixed rate mortgages, those aren't adjusted by the Fed. Now, the mortgage market will watch what the Fed does and try to interpret what they do and then, change accordingly. Mortgages are based off the 10-year Treasury bond. Bond market, safest investment you can have, right? Guaranteed by the government. So right now, the 10-year Treasury bond is at about 3.6%, right? And that's, as of this week, while we're hosting the podcast, obviously that's going to fluctuate. It moves daily. It moves hourly. It's traded like a stock. It's traded on the secondary market.
Which is why I'm excited to have this on a weekly basis so we can kind of continually understand what's going on.
Completely. And I'm going to try and average out a lot of the statistics. I mean, it doesn't make sense to give you something that's highlighted on a Friday or on a Wednesday because, people are going to be listening through this throughout the week. So as an average right now, it's at like 3.6%. If you track mortgage rates and 10-year Treasury bonds, you're going to find from 10 years, you're going to find that there's usually around a 2% to 3% spread, right? So like today, if you're pricing out mortgages, the 10-year Treasury is at 3.6, you're going to most likely see interest rates are going to be around like the 6.5% to 7%. There's that 3% spread. When we were in the high, like the low lows, I believe it was November of 2020 or 2021, that yield was at 0.5.
Yeah.
So interest rates were at 2.5, right? That's when everyone was like going crazy. And that means it was good in our industry. It was good in your industry. Yeah. Everyone was loving it. And there again, that's that 2% to 3% spread. So when the Fed comes out and says we're trying to get in front of inflation, and they use these terms, this hawkish term, soft landing, hard landing, when we hear those different types of things, that Fed rate doesn't directly correlate to mortgages. There's a correlation, but it's not 100% dependent, right? They are independent items. So I think it's important to kind of understand what that is and what that means. So when we hear these things and they hear these conversations when the Fed comes out, we not only understand what they're talking about, but then we kind of go back into what is going to affect us and kind of check on those bonds, check on the bond yields, and see how we can then kind of assume where the market's going.
So when our buyers or our sellers are calling and they're freaking out because the interest rate went up and everything that's going on, what should we be telling them to educate them to know how this all works?
Honestly, the best way to look at it is understand where that individual is, right? There's each person's individual scenario is going to really rely on where they're at and whether or not it makes sense. So if you're paying rent, if your money's just sitting in an account, in high inflation scenarios, if your money's sitting in a checking account, you're actually losing money, right?
Yeah.
Your money isn't worth as much as it was, right? If you're paying rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Now, most likely, most landlords, most competent, let's say most people that can foresee these types of things, have refinanced their investment properties. They're in fixed term loans. So us as tenants are paying someone else's mortgage. And in a lot of scenarios I come across is a lot of times people have earned hard-earned money and it's sitting in an account. That is not benefiting anyone. In fact, you're benefiting the landlord and you're actually losing money. In those scenarios, it's okay to rent a rate. I mean, that's essentially what you're doing when you're purchasing. You're renting the rate because you have the ability to refinance.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take what you're paying in rent, you look that over a 12-month period, you could be paying $48,000 a year. 36, these are astronomical numbers that you could be paying towards your home.
And this is in our market in Southern California. Right?
Correct,
but
course.
That can change varied markets, right?
Completely. So. But we're still talking about it's a similar variation because maybe that loan amount we're talking about is a $300,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And that 24 or 26 or whatever thousand a year, that's a pretty big chunk, right?
Yeah.
So it still works. So it's important to kind of understand that individual scenario and let them know that, hey, if we can qualify you, right? If we can take a look at your financials and we can have that conversation, we can look at your debt to income ratio and we can see that you can actually do it. It might make sense to you. Because if you can afford it now, when the rates do drop, you're going to be in a better place, right?
Yeah.
You're going to refinance. If you have a good connection or good relationship with the broker that got you the loan, he'll give you a good, it's going to be no cost, right? Everything will be rolled in as well. So there's no out of pocket. There's all these different things that you can do or look forward to that will make it beneficial to get in the house now, opposed to just having your money kind of wither away when inflation is going up.
Yes.
Right?
So let's talk about those people that, because we've seen it and we've seen it in our market, and I've seen it when I'm coaching other agents across the country. These buyers that were qualified for XYZ amount are no longer qualified for that amount.
Yeah.
So are you seeing a lot of that? What do you think is going to happen with that?
All the time. So, I mean, lenders love to say the lender-agent relationship is crucial. I mean, I couldn't stress it enough. This is the time where it is the most important, right? Because the economy is shifting so rapidly and literally within weeks, man, you could qualify someone and the next week they could be pushed over the edge, right?
Yeah.
And especially in financial situations where things might be tight, people are running up credit cards a little more. They're not paying off balances the way they used to, kind of different things like that. It's important to stay on the button with lenders within that agent relationship, is making sure that they're consistently kind of repricing and staying on top of them to see that you're not going out and you're not wasting your weekends and then not to only have it be like, oh, well, like, shoot, I didn't know, like, they were looking at this price point, or, this HOA doesn't happen. But
so to clarify that before we go to the next thing, that I want to make sure that we hit on that point, because that's important. What we're talking about is, if you have a pre-approval from 2 weeks ago or a month ago, that pre-approval might not be valid anymore.
Completely.
Right? And so it's important that as you're searching, as the market is moving and shifting, that you're getting an updated pre-approval.
Yeah.
And when you're going out to go show them properties, because you may be showing them, I don't know, $500,000 properties, and now they're only qualified for $425,000.
With an HOA.
With
right?
an HOA,
and then different HOAs, there's Melloru's in California in a lot of spots, right? In these new planned developments, there's a lot of Melloru's, there's HOAs. There's, varying price points within the same zip code. So it's just important to stay on that and to ask the questions. And I mean, look, it's a two-way relationship. If you guys are working on the weekends showing the homes, we can price stuff out on the weekends too. Like, it's not a big deal, right? So ask the questions. And 100%, people are losing their qualification within a week.
Yeah,
right?
I think I'm gonna do another episode with you on one of these weeks, and we're gonna talk about how to find the right lender partner, because that's a big point. Is like, I remember when I first got in this business, I had a lender partner that literally wouldn't price stuff out. He's like, "Oh, it's the weekend. I don't work on the weekends." It's like, what, dude?
Yeah,
our job is the weekends. So. Anyways, that's a whole different thing I can go into.
Another,
you were talking about a new product coming onto the market that you think is going to start hitting the market more rapidly as these things are happening. What is that? And let's talk about that so we can share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I mean, creativity is driven from adversity, right? So like when things start kind of hitting the fan, you got to get creative to get around it. So I think, when the market starts to turn, and look, lenders feel it, right? I mean, lenders are trying to stay open as well. Like, we're trying to still do our jobs and find the escrows and open them, and you guys are trying to sell the homes, and it's all, everyone's trying to like make their nut per se, and the lenders are in the same boat, right? So they're going to adapt, right? They're going to improvise.
Yeah.
So there's going to be new products, and a product that I have right now that like I'm really excited on is actually a 40-year amortized loan. So what does that mean? So the average, or I mean most, I'd say 99% of loans are on 30-year amortization loans. There's been 40 years in the past, and usually it's called like there'd be a 10-year interest-only option by a 30-year fully amortization. But the point that I'm trying to stress is these loans are always, you're qualified, your debt-to-income ratio is based on the 30-year amortization, amortized payment. With this new rate, because people are being priced out, right, with interest rates going up and debt to income kind of going over the threshold, we now have a 40-year. So to kind of put it in perspective, and again, California prices, but if you're looking at a $750,000 home, right, just principal and interest, on a 30-year amortization, and let's just say at a 6%, right, that's going to be around $4,500 a month, right, and we're just going to round. You take that and you put it on a 40-year scale, same percent, that's going to be around like $4,100. Right?
Yeah, it's a game changer.
So that $400 is a massive game changer, right?
Yep.
And how many agents will know that when they go and they tell the buyer or a lender like what can they buy in like $500,000, and then they send them the property and there's a $300 HOA and they're like, oh whoa,
we can't do it.
We didn't factor in an HOA. We thought it was a single family. Well, now you can, right?
Yeah.
Because like that 300, that 400 is massive. And there's so many times a 350 car payment doesn't qualify somebody, right? Because of that. Like that's a lot of money when you're thinking about debt to income ratio. So that product and the multitude of others that will come out to kind of combat this and to allow more people to come into the market is one that I'm really excited about. And I think I think agents honestly should be too.
Dude, I'm stoked about this. I'm very, 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 very happy. I'd say this about every single guest that I have on, but I'm really, truly grateful to have you on and to have you share your knowledge. I can't wait to share more next week. Thank you so much for coming on this week. And yeah, dude, thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. If someone needs to find you, where do they find you? What's your Instagram handle? Where should they find you?
I'm at T_Othman. For Instagram. It's kind of a combo, my personal and my business. That's me, so it's going to be both.
Killer.
and then email Tarek at ACG Lending, and and I could put my number down there. I mean, like you said, the best ability is availability, so you might as well get my cell phone number as well, right?
Man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to sharing in the future.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.